Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today and taking time off just to attend this webinar and just being here to just be able to share insights. So today I'll be sharing you a bit about how to optimize business spend, insights to managing costs through digitalization. Very focused into sort of looking into business procurement, but do feel free to ask me any questions and I'm more than happy to sort of answer. So basically, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Supplycart. This is the third business that I've started, and basically, what Supplycart is we have developed a procurement technology for businesses to digitalize and sort of better manage their business spend. We are also an MDEC partner that we were appointed in 2018 in terms of helping SMEs to digitalize their procurement and adopt technology in their business. And overall, nutshell, what Supplycart does is we connect businesses through our platform. We have now over 900 verified vendors. We have developed a closed marketplace, allowing businesses now to source for products and services they would need for their business. We have also created a proprietary e-procurement platform that is affordable, that businesses and SMEs could adopt in their company, as well as we are looking to empower companies like yourself with technology. And so far, we have about 1,800 companies already, which we have worked with. So some of the things that we have worked with our clients and achieved so far, we have achieved more than savings of 19,000 hours saved on behalf of our clients in terms of improving efficiency and the less processing, less manual work. So that's really something we're really proud of. We have also saved our clients more than $3 million in terms of their purchases as well as spend in terms of different categories of products and services. We have done also as well an average cost savings of 10% in terms of time efficiency and cost of products. And finally, we have reduced manual processing by up to 60% for our clients. So that's something really that we really look forward to work with companies like yourself, as well as the rest of the companies in Malaysia as well. So just to share some stats in terms of digitalization, what is Malaysia's usage of tools and systems out there? So in a study recently done in 2018 actually, by the Malaysian SME Corp as well as Huawei, what they found was that the different tools and systems that companies and SMEs have adopted, how much has that led to improved productivity, right? And I believe that the amount of SME surveyed was, I think 2,000 over SME surveyed. And interestingly, what it found was that, there was very high usage in terms of using technology from a smartphone to desktop to laptop and just having an internet connection. So that's given, right? But from a productivity level, it's still fairly low in the graph. The next thing would be, does companies use social media and e-commerce? And surprisingly, out of all of that, only 44% have some sort of e-commerce presence. And of course, having an e-commerce and social media definitely does increase a bit of productivity. But the highest productivity contributor from a back-end perspective for businesses, only 50% are using some sort of tool and a system for finance and accounting, and that's the most popular one. And next would be HR, in terms of managing potentially leave, payroll and stuff like that. But anything after that, in terms of whether they have system and tools to manage their inventory, do they have a POS, CRM, procurement, supply chain order fulfillment, that significantly drops. And what that means is, that means less than 10% of SMEs are actually using efficient tools and systems for their business. The next thing I wanted to share with you in terms of, if you're a micro SME or small or medium businesses, interestingly, the survey also showed that majority of businesses, of course, they would have all the tools, the smartphone, internet service, that's given. But starting from using finance and accounting, HR and management, micro companies, less, right? And you could see as they progress, smaller companies more and more are using accounting softwares and started increasing in terms of using some sort of HR management tool. And as you move towards medium-sized companies, then you see the rest of the tools being used much higher compared to micro companies. And I think this shows that in terms of when do people really start thinking about using technology in their business? What is most important to SMEs currently for this? And this is what it shows from the survey and the report. So it also sort of discussed in terms of what are some of the challenges that SMEs are not moving towards digitalization. And these are the 4 key areas that it was shared. So firstly, financing. Most of the time, businesses feel that it's really expensive to implement some sort of tool or digital technology in the company. So, there's no clear sight of return of investment. Most of the time, myself included, during our very early days, we were always looking at driving the business, growing sales, trying to chase sales, go on the ground and do all this kind of stuff, right? And getting all these kind of tools can be really costly, and sometimes we don't know where to turn to. But I would like to share that there are definitely grants out there and funding out there which you could tap on, and later on I'll share with you in terms of some areas that you could go into, right? Another challenge is people. I believe as business owners or most companies, the most challenging part is change. People don't like to change. People love to just continue doing what they're doing, right? And most of the time, the pain of going through manual processing now has become a norm, right? They're so used to filling out forms or filling out paper to place the orders, using a fax machine even, right? And people find it hard to change. The next thing is technology. Not aware of what tools to use, and I guess the proper advice and consulting, how to leverage the tools to drive business transformation. Sometimes overusing or over too much tools is not good, but at the same time, too little tools or we don't know what tools are out there, it's also a disadvantage as well. Another challenge is business strategy. Businesses find it difficult to sort of develop a digital business strategy with technology. A lot of times businesses think technology is separate from the business. But I believe that a key challenge here is really how do companies incorporate technology to transform and innovate their business. So I guess these are the few key challenges in terms of preventing SMEs from moving towards digitalization. So some sort of questions to sort of poke businesses would be, by going through all this, are businesses leaving money on the table? Do you have visibility in terms of what kind of systems? How are their back-end processes and systems currently like? Is there a hole, right, in the bucket here, right? And that hole could be due to manual means of processing. You could be losing money as well because you don't have visibility of spend in your business. There could be a lot of unconsolidated purchases, right? There's a lot of unnecessary spend happening in the company, and ultimately leads to businesses not changing and the people not changing fast enough. And that is potentially costing your business a lot of money. All right, so just a quick interactive activity again, going back to Slido, just handing over just to get some of your insights into some of the questions that we have for you. So just if you could just fill up some of the questions, and we could see the poll and we could just address some of these questions later on.
Yeah, so we just heard from John about challenges in digitalization. So just let us know what would be your main challenge that your company is facing. Think more responses. Wow, it's all equal. So everyone has different challenge, it seems. Oh, okay, it's changed. This is the fun part of being live. Okay, so far it seems that, yeah, I think the main challenge is people, right? And also getting to know what tools are out there. Of course, the clear direction and the cost is an issue. So thanks for sharing your input. Yep, back to you, John.
Okay, thanks guys for sharing. Okay, so the big question now is, we are all stuck at home right now, right? And we are all looking through this screen. So COVID-19, has it affected businesses that have not digitalized? In my personal opinion, I believe so. What has happened is this is really something that nobody has gone through before, especially for businesses. And what we found throughout this period of COVID and MCO would be a lot of businesses then are now scrambling to how to digitalize. I am not in a channel, I'm in the food business, I don't even have an e-commerce site, and everybody's all jumping on Grab or Foodpanda, and they have a huge backlog to get people on, 3 to 4 months backlog, right? So I believe that definitely businesses are looking towards to like, how can now we incorporate technology now in our business? Because the new norm now, from retail perspective and all the different businesses, it's even more important now to be able to use digital tools, having a presence, and how to incorporate technology in our business as well, right? So we don't know what's going to be ahead after post MCO, but I believe that by preparing and looking towards being more efficient will sort of lead businesses, to be able to grow in those areas. So just wanted to share with you in terms of, thinking about where your business is at, right, during this MCO period and what happens after this. So Barclays sort of shared a report in terms of there'll be 3 stages that businesses will be in. Right after MCO, would you be in a business that you will gain market share, right? And that your business will be growing, So some of the essential services guys are going through a boom, right? And if those that are not digitalized, then, they are missing out. The next thing also then is recover, which means that during this period, business has definitely dipped, right? No, they're not allowed to open, we can't deliver, we can't get stocks and stuff like that. So some of our businesses, in terms of looking to just recover right after this, right? And the third type of business will be impaired. And impaired meaning, at the top of my mind, I'm sure you can think about some industries that are affected already, right? Airlines, tourism, right? That right after MCO, it's going to be a challenge for some of these industries to come up. But nevertheless, we believe that whatever stage you're at, there are definitely opportunities out there, right? So, yeah, these are some of the gainers, right? And these are some of the impaired industries. So, yes, accommodation, Airbnb, these are some of the areas that, they are gaining and sort of impaired as well. And we have seen some businesses as well sort of pivot or, create new channels of revenue. And how have they used technology as well to create these new channels, right? So the first thing that I'd like to share is potentially during this time of pandemic, as well as, the economy. I don't want to sound negative, but I guess it's always preparing for the worst. So watching the business bottom line is very important. And how do we optimize our business spend? How do we optimize, everything that the business is spending on? Do we know what we're spending on as well? So I'd like to share in terms of sort of a very high level planning and scenario planning that you could do, right? Looking at a 12-month period, 12 to 24 months, as well as 24 months, right? More than 24 months. And running a couple of scenarios. So we've done this for our company as well, that you can call it a BCP or stuff like that, that's a fancy word. But running best case scenario, worst case scenarios, budgeting and our financial projections, how much cash, how much revenue that is lost, and how can we protect our revenue, right? What are we going to keep executing from a business progress perspective, having more clarity based on the current macro scenarios, right? So businesses have definitely changed. The way that we're going to be doing sales is also have definitely changed. How do we adapt to this different scenarios that is relevant to our business, right? Each scenario, when you plan, definitely has to translate to a few things, right? It has to improve efficiency, of course, reduce your cost, right? And of course, improve your bottom line. And the question to ask is then, can technology help you in these areas? Is technology part of your scenario planning, right? And the next thing to think about is consideration to reduce OPEX. between by a certain percentage. Um, I believe that some affected industries now have gone into, reducing headcount and reducing, a lot of things, and in those instances, how can a business function then with less manpower, you know, and we believe that technology and moving the business towards digitalization will be able to do that. So next thing is crafting your business strategy based on those different months, right? I won't go into detail and just sort of highlight some of the key ones, right? If you're looking at the 12-month period, how do we look at in terms of cost-cutting initiatives and improvements to be very lean, right? If you have, a 12 to 24 months planning, how do you sort of look into areas that you can maximize your cash, right? And maybe here is how do you get options for short-term financing and grants, right? Have you tried MDEC? Have you tried MITI? There are some SME digitalization grants going on right now for a lot of tools out there, and they could be very cheap and affordable, and that you could look into as well, right? And past 24 months, what's the business going to be like? Are there inefficiencies that that could be building up? And I think it's time as well to look into increasing your margins and revenue, right? So based on this scenario planning, it will change. And I guess it's being able to be nimble, right? Month of month, how we are looking at it from our business perspective as well. We are going on month and see how are things, right? We prepare, but we also monitor in terms of how the environment changes over time. So the 4 key areas that I'll be sharing with you, in terms of why digitalization, we'll be looking at some of areas that you could look into from your business perspective, from a business workflow optimization, right? And analytics, how important is analytics in your business? Do we have visibility of what we're spending on? And finally, some sort of sharing in terms of how to cost cut and also, manage our vendors better. So the question it would be, why even move towards digitalization, right? And a key thing to look at into, it's all about innovation. How do we change our business model, right? How do we create new revenue streams? And how do we value, producing opportunities for the business? How do we increase the value of more opportunities for the business? And we believe that by digitalization, it will definitely give you these 4 things, right? Number 1, it gives you a competitive advantage by doing things better, faster, and cheaper than your competition, right? For example, if in one day you're processing 10 orders, via fax or via manually, right? Compared to a company who is processing 50 using technology in terms of there's an e-procurement solution that could be an online ordering system. You have an e-commerce site, all right? And that has significantly given you as a business a competitive advantage. Next thing is a skilled team. It creates agility, better communications among all departments, improving the quality of work in the company. So many times, we have seen without technology or digitalization in the company, teams are very siloed, right? And by sort of incorporating technology, the teams are able to sort of come together and work together and sort of collaborate. I think the key word here is collaboration. And through collaboration, as well as using technology to become more efficient, they can do more things. They can process more orders. They can answer more emails. They can answer more calls. Right? They can do so much more things. Right? And we are one company for sure that we believe in that. Right? And later I'll share you some of the tools that we have used in our company that sort of has helped us significantly. And all our team members as well. Right? They are better equipped now. They're skilled. Right? In terms of understanding how can tools help them be more efficient as well. Third, I guess as business owners as well, or if you're heading a division or you're running the business, moving towards digitalization allows you to have better decision making, right? This goes hand in hand with data management, data knowledge, and this knowledge leads to better decisions. And the question I asked earlier in terms of, do you have visibility of where your business is spending on? Do you know where you're leaking buckets in your company? And we believe by going through digitalization of your business, you would be able to sort of identify these areas that are causing inefficiencies, causing you to lose money, or vendors maybe not having the right vendors in place to support your business through these times, right? Could be finance as well. Are we collecting money fast enough? Do we have reminders that somebody owes us like immediately? How do we get payment quick, right? How do we try to incorporate reminders, sending out emails, how do we get more sales as well, right? Fourthly, it will be improving efficiency and productivity. So I guess all this goes hand in hand by incorporating digitalization in your company. And digitalization really looks in terms of processes, right? How do you digitalize the processes in current company? So of course, this will lead to significant increase in productivity and leading to cost, right? We're able to share with you that how much time we have saved our clients, how much money we have saved, how much cost we have saved, right? It's all purely because of using digital tools and systems, and all this data is available. How do you make use of that data? And we believe by having your business will definitely fly and improve if you go through this whole process of digitalization. So yeah, as shared, I think really this time at MCO as well, it has caused all of us to think about how can we sort of use technology now, and it's so much more important now for the business to continue, right? We have been stuck here for like close to 2 months, right? How do we get sales, right? And if you don't have an e-commerce site, then now people started moving to Facebook, WhatsApp, and it's great, right? They started innovating the way they do business. So I think it's really a perfect timing now that this situation has sort of jolted businesses to think about it, right? But saying that, moving on to the earlier survey that I shared, just by having a website is not enough, right? We need to look into the whole, the organization as a whole. What kind of processes we are going through now? How can we improve in the different areas? Could it be logistics? How do we work maybe a logistic partner who has digitalized, stuff like that, right? Ultimately, giving your business an advantage, giving your business this competitive edge. So from a workflow perspective, let's deep dive in, by going through digitalization. It forces businesses now to look, analyze, and sort of map out the process flow in detail. You will definitely be able to find gaps and areas of inefficiencies that is bleeding the business actually right now, right? I go this process, you're able to sort of identify these areas. Second, after you identify and you have looked into it, it's time to sort of create these flows, right? Whether there's a tool, whether there's a system that sort of allows you to create these business controls. Could be procurement policies, could be approvals, and all this kind of compliance stuff that you could create, right? And that now gives you sort of an end-to-end transparency, right? And the ultimate goal here is really to be achieving significant efficiency gains, significant cost reductions, or even not bleeding even further, then there's no leaking bucket in your business, right? So by digitalizing your workflows, your business workflows is very vital as a first step of digitalization, right? So I don't want to go into detail, right? But a simple flow chart like that, right, sort of allows us to identify different areas that we could be improving or looking at, right? This is a sample of how Supplycart will look into. So I'm not going to go into different areas, but basically what this is able to tell us is these are the areas that we need to improve. These are the areas that now technology is helping us, that it can help us to manage our business spend better, and this is where we have created, and if you could see, there's different departments involved now, and then going back to the point earlier that now you have sort of synergize and get everybody to collaborate. There's a seamless, transparent flow, right? So start somewhere. Start with easy ones, right? We are always problem solving, but putting it down and ensuring each of the teams understand these flows is really important as well. Next, analytics. This is my favorite part, right? I love to look at data. I love to look at charts and reports and everything. But at the same time, what does it tell, right? It allows us to sort of be able to understand what is our stats like, what's my report card like, right? How is the business doing? What's the health like, right? So start with knowing your current spend and standing with your current different vendors right now. Do you know who's your highest spending vendor, or the highest vendor you're paying? Do you know how much you're paying them, right? Are they charging you differently, right? So that leads to having a clear visibility of what you're spending on. Are there any contract pricing and renewals, right? Adjusting areas of spend, right? And digitalization will allow you to do so, right? Visibility of where your company is, a report, what kind of contract pricing you have, you know, and how you could adjust those areas. And you will only be able to know this if you sort of have analytics and understanding your business spend, right? This is a very key important point, and point three, and I want to stress the importance of it is really data integrity, right? Um, a lot of times we say, yeah, I'm tracking what? I put it in the Excel sheet, I go and type it in, you know, but at the end of the day, there's a human behind it, right? And human errors does happen. And believe me that we have looked at dirty data, right? For of up to like, you know, a company having 80,000 lines of dirty data, right? And what dirty data creates? Dirty data creates dirty analytics, and dirty analytics leads to uninformed decisions. So I give you an example of dirty data, right? We had a company, and I can't tell you who, but then, you know, it was a very big manufacturing company, right? And they gave us this whole bunch of data, you know, and they had different places all over Malaysia. And we looked through the data, and we found, you know, the outline marker pen, that black color marker pen that you write on the blackboard. Do you know how many permutations of that same pen we found, right, in the data that they gave us, right? We found 150, right, different lines of that same item, right? And they didn't even know, right, that this is different. Imagine if they consolidated the data is clean, they would have taken that total volume of data to then discuss with their suppliers. Like, hey, you know what? I'm buying a lot of outline, man, black marker ink, you know, but because of the data, dirty data, they couldn't do it, right? So it comes down to, do you have a sort of a spend analytics system, you know, to allow you to have sort of a better informed decision making? Are you able to generate reports for you to see, right, in terms of the different areas of your business? So I just want to share with you some of the reports that we use, some of the reports that we generate as well. And this is a glimpse of what it could tell you, right? So firstly, you know, my report is live. I could see now, you know, up to 30th April, looks like, you know, the sales team is spending a lot, you know, especially during this time, you know, it is really, you know, are they really spending too much, right? What are they spending on? And how they're spending on would be, you know, all right, they're spending a lot on maybe paying for certain things here. It could be, so shouldn't have events lah, you know. So what are the different areas that they are paying for, right? We're looking at in terms of who are our top suppliers as well, right? A supplier report tells me that, hey, I'm buying this much on a monthly basis from this particular supplier. You know, what am I buying from him? You know, and you know what you're buying from him, and you're like, hey, you know, I think it's time to negotiate better pricing with this guy, right? I'm buying so much. Look at my consumption report. Wow, I'm buying all this kind of stuff, you know. But what this report also tells you is what you don't need. What are you spending too much on that you might want to control and cut, right? And I guess that's the beauty of being able to have such analytics. I believe that I'm sure you would have as well, some sort of analytics. I guess just have to be mindful in terms of what tools are we using to generate this kind of analytics for your business spend. Like clearly the example of 80,000 lines, you know, that could be the disadvantage of using, you know, Excel or you know, manual data entry. Okay. So the next thing I want to share with you in terms of digitalization in terms of your vendors, right? How do you reduce costs as well through better vendor management? So here we're going to talk about a lot of times our own vendors as well. They don't have any digital tools, right? And each of them, they are sending us their own price list manually, emails here and there. You know, how are we controlling how we place our orders with our vendors, or how we order from our vendors as well? And that could really take out a lot of your time and resources, right? Just to manage your own vendors. And who are your important vendors? Do we know which are our important vendors to manage? So it's a very key area to be able to conduct sort of a benchmarking activity, to be able to segregate the different vendors into, okay, this vendor is really related to my direct procurement or direct business, right? I need this vendor now because it's to drive my business. And you know what? These other smaller vendors, you know, maybe I don't need to spend so much time, right? And believe me, when we have data to show, the most time that businesses spend is actually not managing these guys. It's managing the smaller, indirect, ad hoc kind of vendors, because it's something out of the norm, and sometimes you have to waste a lot of time looking for this. So what could you do? What system can be in place to manage this one? would you consider using a master vendor or a platform to manage all these vendors so you don't have to spend time already? And that could be something that you could adopt as well through digitalization. Getting your vendors or these small vendors, or all your vendors into a single system now that you can manage, that you don't use multiple systems, that you don't use multiple channels, and sometimes the suppliers as well, they're more than happy to comply as well, right? In a way, it's automated, and that could help them definitely. So here's where I'm talking about where 80% of your time is used to spend on the 20% of the suppliers that are not really contributing to your business, right? And they take the most time, and each business will have this, we call it a long tail, and you will know best in terms of your business vendors, your business spend, the categories, and always you have this long tail. How do you reduce the management of these long tails, right? How do you improve the vendors in this? Could you have better vendors as well, right? So looking at using the digitalization process and using tools and systems, it allows you to reassess your existing purchases. Again, coming back to data, right? It will allow you to look at your existing purchases being made. How are you buying them? Is it most cost effective? Can you run e-sourcing, e-benchmarking, even an e-RFQ, in this system to be able to then get better pricing? It also allows you to consolidate vendors, right? Areas you can look into more effective purchasing, right? For example, that same black color outline pen I was talking about, if you have multi locations, your guy is buying from somewhere, the other guy is buying from somewhere, but they're buying the same item and the price is different. So why is that? That is definitely an area where you can improve your cost. And because there's no system in place, right, it's not being tracked. Everybody have a free reign on what they're buying, right? And this relating also as well, do we have the proper approvals and all this kind of stuff in place? So these are the kind of stuff that you can start looking into. Vendor management, right? You can now streamline and consolidate your vendors. You could maybe potentially, instead of dealing with 5 vendors, I might just deal with one guy who has these 5 things. Price could be the same. I've given him my data and he's able to give me this kind of pricing. Great. And I've now reduced, and 5 contact points, 5 calls and everything all by, and you multiply that by the number of vendors that you have and the time and the people that you spend. That is definitely, an area that you should look into, and digitalization helps you with that. From a finance perspective as well, yes, finance need to process payments, but again, it takes a lot of time, right, to process different payments. And the best part, I always love this, right? I can't pay you. I'm missing document. No DN. No invoice. No all this. And sometimes it's just really an excuse, right? Oh, right. But by digitalizing it, to be honest, right, imagine the invoice is automatically emailed, right? The DN is scanned and sent over. What excuse is there, right? Time to pay up, right? Pay quickly, that is relating to customers, right? But at the same time, from a vendor perspective, right, you now pay your vendors sort of, maybe pay one vendor out at 5, like I mentioned earlier. So you could pay them and negotiate better pricing and so forth. So coming to making technology accessible. So there are a lot of technology out there. It's a matter of looking for the right ones and actually what is most important for you, right? As you have shared, just now in the polls as well, some of the areas that you guys are looking to. So go out research, but for me, I guess the best that we have done is really asking people what kind of technology they're using. Sometimes industry peers as well could be able to share, right? So, I would say go out there and sort of explore what kind of tools out there. And there are really very affordable solutions out there, right? From whether it's your sales, your HR, your finance, operations, procurement, and so forth, right? So I'm just going to share with you in terms of what Supplycart uses, right? It's quite a lot, so just don't so yeah, here it is. This is what Supplycart does, right? We have a ERP, right, which is our own proprietary procurement solution, which we have integrated with our accounting software, which is Xero, right? So what it does is, we have now digitalized the process of when somebody requests for a product to buy, they have added to cart, they check out, a PO is then created in Xero, and everything was recorded. And you have seen this seamless process now, right? We use project management tools in our tech team, all these different tools, right? We have an HR, management tool as well. In terms of managing payroll and medical, we use CRM, communications, online presence, um, Google tools, Google Sheets. I would say that something. So we don't use Excel anymore because Excel doesn't really encourage collaboration. So as what we mentioned earlier, right? It's all about collaboration and sharing the data, and so that it can help with decision making. So as a company, Supplycart, we use a lot of Google Sheets instead of Excel, because we find that Excel has a really like a version control problem lah. I update, you update, suddenly we send, hey, I lost that file lah. All this kind of stuff. So these are some of the things that we have incorporated ourselves. If you have questions on what tools to use, more than happy to share as well, and just give you details and give you feedback on these tools as well, right? Part of digitalization also is hardware, right? And for us, we use laptops. We ensure everybody has dual screen now. If you're not using dual screen right now, right, to be honest, it's really inefficient, right? We currently, like, if I'm talking to you guys as well, I have two screens now, right? And when I'm processing stuff or when I'm doing stuff, right, it's much quicker, right? So give it a go as well if you don't think that two screens will help. A lot of times, even our own team members, when they join us, right, two screens, no lah, no need lah, one screen, right? But saying that, all these tools are meant to help. It has to improve. And I want to just word of caution here is sometimes too many tools as well can cause inefficiencies, right? Because then it becomes, which tool should I use, or which one is the one that I'm supposed to use, right? So again, having a very clear implementation plan and change management is important, right? So only use the tools that are relevant for your business, right? And that is most important. So I would say start small, slowly move to those different tools that you like, not overnight, overwhelm. I guess the whole team also cannot tahan. They also like, oh my God, So yeah, this is some of the tools that we've used, right? Okay, so just a quick plug about Supplycart, right? Just to share in terms of the proprietary, and we are very proud of our e-procurement solution, right? Because we have created a very affordable procurement solution for businesses, and we believe that we want all Malaysian businesses, SMEs as well, to be able to incorporate this in their business. Everybody needs a HR software, HR, accounting, right? But how are you using a software and a system, right, for your business spend? So this is something that we have developed, right? You have analytics. You can now manage your vendors. There's a lot of features. There's a lot of compliance, approvals, and all this that you can do on this system. So you can even source. You can even ask for eRFQ. I want to buy something. Instead of going to different places to look and then call people 10 times, with a click of a button, one time, 3 people can quote you, this kind of stuff, right? And this is not just to the vendors on our platform. You can now digitalize your vendors. You can put your vendors here, and you could then communicate with them via this platform, right? Some of the benefits of our proprietary platform, Adam, definitely is going to save you time. You're improving your spend visibility. You can now source better. There's a lot of compliance and controls. You could see which department is spending what. You can control all that as well. What's the limit, what's the budget. Definitely an automation perspective, and ultimately leading to saving opportunities. 10%, is that a lot? I would think so. If some companies do spend quite a bit, and I think at this moment in time, whatever we can save is very important. So finally, we have prepared something for you guys. If you're an SME, right, we would like to sort of get you on this, and it's absolutely free. And you could use our platform and do anything you want with it for the next 6 months, right? And the best part is we're going to help you work in terms of digitalizing, starting with your business spend and your procurement. And we hope that this will definitely provide you with significant savings. So after this, if you can just reach out to us, and see how we could help you. If you are a vendor as well, and you would like to list, we will be more than happy to partner with you as well. You could be a vendor on our platform as well, and exposed to more of the corporate clients, and this could be another channel for you. So it works both ways. You could use it for yourself as well as opening up for more channels for you, right? Lastly, if you could just help me to go to this link, I'm really, really interested to really see, how is it like for your business, during this time, and if we could help in any way, we're more than happy to assist. And I guess this survey will sort of allow us to sort of, when we speak to you, it's able to sort of identify your priorities and where is the most critical areas they could help you with. Yeah. So other than that, no, thank you for your time.